The cosmic joke and the great illusion. Have you ever had that haunting mid-afternoon realization that absolutely nothing makes sense? Think about it. You wake up, scrub your teeth, trade your hours for a paycheck, scroll through digital noise on your phone, and drift into sleep, only to repeat the entire cycle the next day, like a script with no purpose, a long joke without a punchline. Welcome to the absurd. It's no coincidence that Albert Camus, the godfather of absurdism, described human existence as something fundamentally devoid of meaning. The universe is indifferent. It doesn't care about your destiny, your 5-year plan, or your personal tragedies. Life owes you nothing. And if you're waiting for a grand reveal where everything finally clicks into place, I have some harsh news. It won't. But wait, before you go throwing it all away, let me explain why this realization might be the most powerful thing that ever happened to you. The great farce of purpose. Since the day we are born, we are shoved into a pre-written screenplay. Study to get grades to enter a university to secure a job to pay bills, and pay bills until you die. The craziest part? We buy into this lie as if it were a sacred, unbreakable contract. We believe there's a straight line we must follow, as if life were a video game with mandatory quests. But in reality, all of this is a social construct designed to keep us occupied and under control. That's when Camus kicks the door down and asks, what if this is all just a massive, meaningless prank? You know that hollow feeling in your chest? That sensation that no matter what you achieve, it's never quite enough. That happens because deep down, we're waiting for a higher purpose to materialize out of thin air, but it won't. And that is exactly where the absurd lives. We are creatures hardwired to seek meaning in a universe that is fundamentally silent. It's like trying to explain a film that has no script, or searching for an instruction manual for a game that never had rules. It should be terrifying, right? But Camus argues that this is actually the most liberating truth in existence. Philosophical suicide, the coward's escape. Faced with this lack of meaning, many people panic. They run toward answers that simply aren't there. This is where the two great escapes are born, religion and dogma. Oh, but God has a special plan for all of us. Or, on the flip side, depressive nihilism. If nothing matters, then nothing counts. The first escape is creating an artificial meaning. You might believe in a divine mission or a cosmic purpose to feel comfortable, but deep down, it's just a way to avoid looking the absurd in the eye. The second escape is even worse, throwing it all away. It's just giving up, believing that if life has no inherent meaning, it isn't worth living. Congratulations, you found the laziest and most cowardly exit possible. Camus, however, suggests a third path, and this is the one that will actually set your mind on fire. The revolt of the absurd. Say, forget it and live anyway. Here's the big secret. You don't need a reason to live. That's right. You can simply exist without needing to justify your being with a higher plan or a forced narrative. Camus uses the myth of Sisyphus as a metaphor. Sisyphus was condemned by the gods to roll a boulder up a mountain, only to watch it roll back down, every day, forever. It sounds like the definition of torture, doesn't it? But what if Sisyphus simply said, you know what, I'm going to enjoy the hike? That is the true spirit of absurdism, accepting that life has no meaning and deciding to live it intensely regardless, enjoying the small things because there's nothing bigger waiting for you, laughing at your own fate because there's no epic finale at the end of the tunnel, creating your own significance, even knowing it's just a collection of ideas you made up. This isn't nihilism, it's not pessimism, it's pure freedom. And this is where the magic happens. When you stop chasing an unreachable meaning, you actually start living. No strings, no fear, no waiting for a divine revelation that will never arrive. Now the question remains, what on earth will you do with this freedom? the middle path between the short circuit and liberation. Okay, we've established that life has no grand purpose and that searching for the why is like a dog chasing its own tail. Now for the million-dollar question. If nothing makes sense, how are we supposed to live? This is where most people snap. Some hide in total denial, clinging to comfortable superstitions. Others sink into nihilism and become hollow shells of people. But there's a third group, the ones who truly understand the game. Camus would say you have three options: live in illusion, the common path; give up on everything, the foolish path; or accept the absurd and live authentically, the insane yet liberating path. Want to know which one is the most fun? The illusion that life should be different. Most people live believing that life should be fair, that there should be a supreme sense of justice, that suffering should have an explanation. But that word "should" is the root of all human misery. Why do you think you're anxious or frustrated? Because you have a mental model of what life should be, and life doesn't give a damn about your model. Want a practical example? Imagine you fall in love. You did everything right. You were kind, you listened, you bought gifts. You deserved to be loved back, right? Wrong. Life doesn't work on a fair reward system. You can give your absolute best and still get dumped without a single explanation. This applies to your career, your health, and your relationships. Believe it or not, your pain doesn't come from what happened. It comes from your expectation that things should have gone another way. Absurdism invites you to accept an uncomfortable but freeing fact. Life doesn't have to be fair. It just is. The despair of nihilism is a hole you don't want to fall into. Many who discover this truth simply quit. Their mentality becomes, if nothing matters, why try? If I'm just a bunch of cells waiting to expire, what's the point? This is the trap of passive nihilism, a black hole of apathy where nothing has value and nothing is worth the effort.
You become an existential zombie. You work because you have to, you eat because you have to, you survive because instinct forces you to. But here is the cheat code. If nothing matters objectively, then everything can matter subjectively. If there's no universal meaning, you have a blank check to create your own. That is the revolt of the absurd, accepting the chaos and creating your own game. Remember Sisyphus? Camus asks us a provocative question. What if Sisyphus was happy? What if he accepted his boulder and decided to enjoy the process? Instead of clinging to despair, you accept the absurdity of existence and play the game of life however you want. This means you decide what to do with your time, without needing to justify it to anyone. You can become a chess grandmaster because you find it cool. You can become a backpacker and explore the world with no fixed plan. You can spend your days writing provocative YouTube scripts. There are no cosmic rules telling you what to do. There is no right or wrong path, only the path you choose. The irony is that when you stop searching for a definitive meaning, you find pleasures that were previously invisible. You realize you don't need a big reason to laugh with friends, eat a pizza, or watch a sunset. The simple fact of being alive is enough. If life is a giant, meaningless absurdity, why not enjoy every last drop of it? The great shift, when the absurd becomes your best friend. Now that you understand that life has no universal purpose and that nihilism is a bottomless pit, we reach the fun part, the revolt. And no, revolt here doesn't mean breaking things or being a rebel without a cause. Revolting against the absurd is an act of intelligence. It's the attitude of someone who understands the game and plays by their own rules. Humans need meaning, but that meaning doesn't come from the outside. It comes from within. You can decide that your life is significant without needing validation from a god, a philosophy, or a society trying to sell you a happiness package. Who are the free people? They're the ones who embrace the chaos. Think of Albert Camus himself. Instead of losing himself in existential crises, he decided to live intensely. He played football, he drove fast cars, he wrote romances that challenged humanity, and above all, he didn't take life too seriously. Or Oscar Wilde, a man who understood that existence was a great theatrical performance. Since we're already on stage, why not be extravagant, provocative, and live in the most pleasurable way possible? Even Bruce Lee, the master of martial arts, didn't believe in absolute truths. He believed you should be like water, fluid, adaptable, and free from rigid dogmas. What did these figures have in common? They weren't waiting for life to have a meaning to start living. This is the turning point, the moment you stop taking yourself so seriously. Life is a spectacle, but you aren't the protagonist of an epic drama. You aren't here to fulfill a cosmic destiny or suffer because you don't have all the answers. You are here to experiment, to test things, to fail, to laugh, to change your mind, and to do whatever you want with the time you have. When you accept this, everything changes. Failures stop being tragedies and become inside jokes. The fear of judgment vanishes because you realize nobody else has the right answers either. You start making choices based on what you actually want, not what is expected of you. And the weirdest part is, when you stop worrying about the meaning of life, life starts making a whole lot more sense. The conclusion? Absurdity as freedom. Let's tie it all together. If life has no meaning, you are free to give it any meaning you want. It doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be spiritual or deep. It can be as simple as wanting to enjoy every moment. That is enough. So, the next time that voice in your head asks, "What is the meaning of life?" just smile and answer, "I don't know, but I'm having a hell of a time trying to find it out."